Steve, often we have you on the show when it comes to subjects about being overweight and being obese, and you are very vociferous in your thoughts on this. What did you make of what Michael Buerk has said?
Well, I think Ben, what he's saying is, and his choice of words could have been a little bit better, but what he's saying is, look, if you're fat, it's your choice. This is what he's saying. And if you want to give yourself a heart attack when you're 52, then so be it, and it'll save the NHS some money. So, you know, we all do have an individual choice. I personally want to see people take action and to lose weight and to take responsibility for it. And but, you know, at the end of the day, we all have a choice.
Is being overweight a choice?
Not always. I'm afraid it isn't. We are programmed by our genetic makeup, and some people are programmed to be slim and some people are programmed to be fat. And if you have a lot of obese genes and you are in an environment, and if you're in an environment in which it's a sort of obesogenic environment, and the food companies are very pleased to sell you lots of yummy things, then you're going to be fat if you have those obese genes. There are over 600 identified genes which program you for obesity. And however much you choose to try and lose weight...
You're complicating it for...
Go on, Steve, we can hear you.
I think you're complicating it.
No,
yeah, you're complicating it, Doctor. And also, listen, no one is fat in a famine. No one's fat in a famine. And there is always something we can do about it. And that's not about me being horrible to people. It's about giving people this morning the message that, you know, if you're down, feeling down about yourself because you are too fat, like I used to be, right, there is something you can do about it.
Okay,
and I don't think as a doctor,
let's just say a little bit more
putting out the
message
that it's OK to be fat.
But that's excessive.
You're a medical doctor, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you give advice to people about their health. You are a little bit bigger than average.
I'm thoroughly obese, yes.
Right.
And I have been since the age of 10, and I've tried every single diet and pill known to man. And I've only recently lost 10% of my body weight, joining a wonderful Slimming World group in Blunsdon in Wiltshire.
And how have you done it? By reducing the amount
you know,
you eat?
Not by reducing the amount of what I eat, but changing what I eat.
Right.
Following their healthy eating plan. It's really working for me, but it doesn't work for everyone.
You see, that's interesting. You're a doctor, you know all about the risks, and yet you weren't able to reduce your weight. Is that because you were ignorant of how to feed yourself properly?
No, not ignorance. It's not ignorance, it's not choice. We are programmed to be what we are. And the fact is that only 5% of people who, like me, have managed to lose 10% of their body mass will keep it off. 5%. And everyone else will rebound, because the body is very clever at trying to keep what we call homeostasis. It's keeping the body's situation standard, which means the body tries to regain its programmed weight. And that's very hard to overcome.
Let's go back to you on that then, Steve. You wanted to interrupt?
I mean, oh, come on, the small... You know, what a depressing message to be giving out to people today from a doctor that, you know, everybody of the nation, good morning, Britain, it's not, you know, you can't help being fat, it's a disease, it's nonsense. Can you imagine a consultation with your guest, you know, as a doctor, if I go and see him as a doctor, you know, we'll have a good old moan about how we're all fat, and if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands and you're fat and whatever, nothing you can do about it. We should not be putting that message out. In all seriousness, the message we need to give out is there is always something you can do about it. And there is a personal responsibility issue here. We have to own our size. We have to get over all this fat shaming. Listen, can I just say one thing? You know, the word fat won't kill you. Being fat will.
But Steve,
that's the message the doctor should be
you
giving
might say
out.
that's a depressing message, but for many people who genuinely feel like they've tried to lose weight, the idea that the NHS might abandon them, because if this thinking is taken to its logical course and that personal responsibility has to be the thing, then people won't come and help them. And for many people, it is a struggle and they want help.
It's a lifelong struggle. All of those of us who are obese have struggled with it for a lifetime. I was put on diet pills when I was 11. I was put on speed, effectively, when I was 11 to try and make me lose weight. Anyway, Dospan, it was popular in the 1960s, which is a very long time ago. We don't do it now, thank goodness. But I was always made to feel like the fat boy at school. and it's carried on from there. It puts you in a mindset where the more you criticise someone for being obese, the more their defence mechanisms come in and they say...
It's not about criticising somebody.
Oh, but I think you are criticising people for choosing to be obese, and people don't make that choice. It's not a choice.
No, it is a choice. It is a choice. But I'm going to agree with you on one thing, is that it is not about diet, it is about mindset and motivation. And that's why when we're putting messages out to people that are really struggling right now, we should give them hope, optimism and aspiration, not putting out the message, guess what, you've got a disease.
But actually, what is right for one person is not always right for everyone. And I can see people in my consulting room, and I see people every week who are struggling with obesity, and we talk about it, and we talk about what's going to work for you. What is the trigger that's actually going to work for you? It's not a generalised, oh, come on, man up and lose weight. Quite honestly, if you say that to someone, it doesn't work.
But you've admitted that you've lost weight by changing the sorts of food that you've eaten.
Yes.
And why would that not work for anybody? If you're eating too much of the things that make you fat, then surely eating more of the things that don't is going to be good for everyone, is it?
It is to an extent, but actually it's not just what you do in terms of your lifestyle choices for food and your food planning and so on. And I'm really into cooking in the Slimming World fashion now, and I do a lot of it now, rather than eating pre-prepared foods, takeaways and so on. And I'm doing well with it. But what helps as well is support from a really good group of people who are also trying to do the same thing. Now, I'm the sort of person who hates groupthink, absolutely hates it. But I've found that the Swimming World group in Blunston I go to is just marvellous.
You've got to stop mentioning that particular group. There are other ones out there, and you're not
other
here
groups
to,
are available.
You're not here to advertise them.
I'm not advertising.
Let's come back to Steve. Steve, you've worked with plenty of people that are overweight in the past with very successful results. But I think clearly one of the things is that you had to work individually with them, and not everybody responds to the same stimulus, do they?
No, you're absolutely right. What works for one person will not work for another person. And it isn't about being horrible to people. But it is about really empowering people. And sometimes to empower people and to motivate people, you have to be very straight talking with them. You know, motivating people to lose weight isn't always, surprise, surprise, just about a carrot. It's also sometimes about a stick. And as I say, it's not about being horrible. It's about being strong with people, to encourage them to take action.
But I think denying people treatment on the ground of obesity is positively inhuman. It's not what we as doctors are about. We treat individual patients as individuals, whether they're obese, whether they're too thin. And being too thin is quite bad for you as well.
It is true, isn't it, Steve? People make all sorts of bad choices. You could argue some sports lead to injury, and the NHS then treats that. They didn't have to do them, they chose to do them. Some people have dangerous... Some people choose to smoke. There's all sorts of things that people choose to do which down the road can lead to injury and support from the NHS.
Look, this is costing a lot of money. Do you know, I've been involved in the NHS recently on a personal level with my mum. And, you know, I want money spent on dementia care. I want money spent on cancer care. Yes, I'm all for supporting people, of course, you know, if people are obese. But the NHS, you know, the money is running out. We just don't have the money to spend on people that aren't taking responsibility for their own lifestyle.
OK.
And actually, at the moment, the NHS does support obese people a lot with, for example, going to weight loss groups and stuff like that, paying for them.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there, Steve. It's always good to get your thoughts. Thank you for joining us, and Dr. Peter as well.
Thank you.
Best of luck with your continued
sort
of exploration of that. Lots of people... I mean, it's interesting because we get lots of people sort of joining both sides of the argument. Jane saying, just like Steve was saying there, a lot of obese people bring it on themselves. Unless they're prepared to help themselves, why should they be treated? And Stuart says obesity only needs treatment if there's a medical cause. Lots of people suggesting that if there's a medical cause, they can see why the NHS should be treating it.
Yes, but you can't treat your genetic makeup. Not yet, anyway. And I'm really not into eugenics. I mean, we get into the terrible things that happened in the Second World War in terms of eugenics if you're not careful. And I think that to fat-shame people who are obese is rather like saying that you should criticise people for being tall. And let's face it, if you're too tall, you can't easily ride on an aeroplane because you don't fit in a seat. My goodness, should you have your legs cut off?